All right. Again, good evening, all, and thank you for joining us for this evening's ANC3C December 2025 public meeting. We are going to dive right in with the establishment of a quorum, 3C01,
Here.
3C02,
Here.
3C03 is myself, and I'm here. 3C04,
Here.
3C05 is still vacant. 3C06,
Here.
3C07,
Here.
and 3C08.
Also here.
All right, we have a quorum with 7 of 7 commissioners present. I will say that the 3C05 seat has been filled by a qualified candidate, and that will be certified in this week's DC Register. And as soon as that is certified in the register, then he will be sworn in and will be joining us in our future meetings going forward. Okay. So I will verify that notice of this meeting was sent to all of the usual suspects, including our newsletter list, the listservs, our website, and so that's the verification of the notice. We'll now move on to the approval of the agenda and the items on the consent calendar. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Janelle, I thought that you were adding the BZA application 3432 Newark. Has that been added? Because I connected with the architect and my questions were answered and can support that. Is that right?
Yes. So we're adding to the consent calendar, and the consent calendar would then be approved by the approval of this agenda and the items on the consent calendar. The support for BZA application case 21-398 for 3432 Newark Street. The other items on the consent calendar include the support for BZA application case 21-400 for Ada Montessori School, and the approval of our November 2025 meeting minutes. Are there any other changes to the agenda? Commissioner Kripke?
No,
Okay, so you have your hand up.
I don't know why.
Okay, cool. So there being no other changes, all those in favor or anybody opposed to the agenda moving forward? All right, we'll take that as a voice vote of yes, and we will move forward. And the items on the consent calendar have been approved and will not be discussed further in this meeting. We have no presentations this meeting, so we'll move on to announcements, and we'll start with single member district reports. So let's start with 3C08. Do you have any single member district report?
Nothing at this time.
Okay, 3C07.
Yes, a few small things. Number one is that there's some sidewalk. DDOT is looking at sidewalks on Cathedral and Woodley in the next week or two, and I've been trying to talk to the DDOT team to point out some issues in the sidewalks. But if anyone is in the neighborhood around Cathedral and Woodley and has some sidewalk issues, this is a good time. You can talk to me about how to contact the team that's working on fixing sidewalks in the neighborhood. The second thing is a lot of the residents in my SMD have been receiving notices from DC Water about having their water lines, their service lines tested and replaced if they have lead in them. And that's great. It's a good thing, and DC Water is supporting it and funding a lot of it. But it's confusing. Their communications have been confusing. The information available is confusing, and so I have organized a Zoom call tomorrow evening at 6:30 for anyone in the Woodley Park neighborhood who's been interested but also confused about what DC Water is doing with the lead lines and whether they're going to dig up their yards and what forms they might have to sign and so forth. Uh, so contact me for information on the Zoom. We'll have DC Water on the line to answer any questions, and I have warned them that people are very confused and maybe a little bit annoyed, but mostly supportive. So contact me if you're interested in joining a Zoom Tuesday at 6:30.
Super. Thank you. 3C06.
All right, couple of things going on. Wonder is open as of December 11th, so exciting to see new businesses coming in. Meanwhile, Saku Saku Cafe is closed as of several weeks ago. And then on the housing and tenants situation here in 3C06, the Quebec House apartments have been dealing with heating issues. I don't know, there's some kind of mechanical problem over there, but periodically their heat's been going out in both the north and south buildings. Tenants are reporting lack of hot water, lack of heating in their apartments. They are so far just discussing with the management company, but I am asking if they'd like to elevate with the city. So stay tuned there. That's it for me. Thanks.
Okay, great. Thank you. And I know that the Office of the DC Attorney General has sent out communique that they're willing to help with issues regarding heating in addition to the Office of Tenant Advocate and the Department of Buildings.
Yeah, I reiterated that to them. They said they've had a hard time getting in touch with the OAG team. So I'm gonna just, free up that and let them know that we can help.
Okay, great. 3C04.
Yeah, I heard from a constituent recently that she's interested in increasing the amount of composting drop-offs in the neighborhood, especially since the Cleveland Park farmers market will be closing pretty soon. So I'd be interested in hearing from more neighbors, even outside of my SMD, if they're also interested in this.
Erin,
Thank you.
if you could loop with me because I'm trying to get it rolled out at the Woodley Park Farmers Market. So if we could put our heads together, we might think of a great spot for it in 3C.
Great, sounds good. Thanks.
Okay, C3C03 is myself, and I do not have an announcement this month. 3C02.
My only announcement for 3CO2 is that we are still working with DDOT on this shadow bike lane that was installed on Calvert Street where they put the flex posts on the wrong side of the bike lane. And also just they need to repave and I'm sorry, repaint some speed bumps that are now black and cars can't see them as they're coming down. So it's been some interesting entertainment to watch.
Okay. 3C01.
Thanks. I would like to first encourage everybody to go to Zoo Lights up at the National Zoo, open until January 4th. Next, I want to thank all the constituents, not just in 3C01, but across 3C for their insight and public comments on two different issues that are in my SMD, one of which being the HPA 26-58 project proposal on Woodley Place. Thank you so much to everybody who has offered comments of both support and opposition. Those perspectives are held in balance with constituent needs in their homes, and I hope to have a dynamic conversation moving forward. And then the other note, or item on the agenda that's received a lot of public comment is on the potential ABCA license to have a medical marijuana distribution facility in the retail spot that currently houses Petit Monde. I just want to thank everybody for their input and thank Commissioner Kripke for drafting the resolution later today. So thank you again.
Yes, and not to confuse folks, these are still on the agenda for this evening's conversation. So they're not done deals. They were not on the consent business. So more to come on that later. So stay tuned. Commissioner Nash.
Sure. Thanks. There is one thing that I wanted to mention just to bring to the community's attention. If you didn't see a post on the Cleveland Park listserv about a week ago, on the 9th of December, in the morning, a school age child was walking to school and was struck by a car accelerating into a right-hand turn against a red light at Porter Street and 34th Street. And the motorist not only didn't stop to verify the child was okay, but actually the child was thrown up onto her hood and asked the child to get off her car, and then she continued onward. I mean, this is, even by the standards of hit and run, this is pretty outrageous. Um, The parents filed a police report, and I followed up with MPD to stress that it's important that the police investigate this and hopefully locate the driver. But it does point out a broader concern that this commission has worked on going back as far as 2 years ago, when Commissioner Siddiqui and I and other commissioners wrote to DDOT urging a traffic study and practical measures to increase pedestrian safety along 34th Street, in our ANC and beyond. And this is a signalized intersection, with a student crossing during, the hours before school. And it underscores why not only enforcement is needed, but why we need design changes. Now, with Councilmember Fruman's help, DDOT has said that in calendar 26, they will focus on 34th Street and study safety issues, not only at certain intersections, but at other spots north of John Eaton School. We hope so. And this underscores again why it's high time that they focus on this high traffic street, which goes through our ANC area.
All right. Thanks, Commissioner Nash. That leads us right into perfect timing with our committee reports. And the first being safe, sustainable, and equitable transportation.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a meeting January 14th at 7, which is our normal day, which is the third Wednesday of the month. We'll talk about this, and we have some other DDOT related issues that have been forwarded to me that we will take a look at as well.
Great. Transparency and public process.
I don't think we need to have a meeting, but I will circulate a list of dates for 2026 that we can vote on next month.
Great. Community engagement and grants. Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry, yes. We do have another grant application from the Woodland Normanstone Neighborhood Association. So I'd like to schedule, I haven't yet scheduled it, but I plan to schedule a grants committee meeting for early January, hopefully in advance of our January meeting so that we could support the grant if we decide that's a good idea. So look for a notice for the grants meeting and information posted about the grant application and OANC approval of it, which has already been reviewed and approved.
Okay, great. Thank you. Planning, zoning, housing, and economic development. We discussed when we last met the two BZA applications that were approved on consent. And we also had a discussion on the ABCA license, which we'll discuss further in this meeting. And then we also had a presentation from 3500 Connecticut Avenue, further update on that project and the alley block closure. Commissioner Bose, am I missing anything?
No, that covers everything. Thanks.
Super. All right, residential historic preservation.
At this point, there are no applications that we're aware of, and I'm just checking the website on any that are upcoming. But if we do end up holding a meeting, it will be the first Tuesday, I should say the second Tuesday of January.
Okay. Environmental justice.
Hi, yes, we have a cool meeting organized to talk about street trees and how to take care of them and why some of them aren't doing well in our neighborhoods. We also might want to talk about the tree situation in the Cleveland Park Promenade. We have not posted it yet, but the plan is to have a meeting on January 7th at 6:30. We'll have someone come from the DC Arborist's office, and then a couple other neighborhood people who have been doing work on street trees. So I think it'll be cool. And anybody interested, I hope you'll come. We'll post information about it on the ANC website shortly.
Super, thanks. Public safety.
Um, Commissioner Nash and I are figuring out a date to meet in January We have, I think, one or two things that we have to discuss.
Okay.
Did I miss anything?
No.
Okay. The hybrid virtual in-person meeting task force.
No updates as of last month. We are looking to reconvene the group in the new year, so stay tuned for that. And I appreciate the offers of help from Commissioners Nash, Prinzo, and others. So hopefully we'll have some updates next time.
And just to note, at our January meeting, we have to vote on, and approve the meeting dates for calendar year 26. So we might want to have a look at some dates and moving around times so that we can accommodate a hybrid meeting in like a location like the Cleveland Park Library and not be charged $900. So we should not wait until January to have that discussion because we want to have those dates ready to
Um,
be announced.
Sure, that's what I meant. Sorry, just to clarify, when I said that I would circulate a list of dates, I meant for the commission, not for the committee.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense now.
Sorry, I like rethought that over, and I was like, that didn't land right.
Okay, cool.
Because Kent Base sent us a list of district holidays and all that. So
Okay. Super. Thank you. All right, now we'll move on to Mayor, Council, Agency, and Community Organization announcements. So starting with the mayor's office, Owen.
Hello, everyone. My name is William Owen Cox. I'm the Ward 3 liaison for the mayor's office. Just two quick announcements. Today is the opening day for the DC school lottery for school year 26 and 27. Families can pick up to 12 schools to apply for. Students in K through 12 have a right to attend their inbound neighborhood school. If they would like to attend another school in the district out of their boundary, they can enter the lottery to do so. The second announcement is we're still in the midst of leaf season. I didn't get an update today as to where Section C, which includes 3C, is at. Last week, they said they were 63% complete, but I haven't heard any updates since then. I presume it's a little bit further along. But if there are uncollected leaves after they've swept through your neighborhood, you can put in a 311 request. The latest info can be found at dpw.dc.gov. And that's it for me.
Super, thank you. All right, Trisha, do you have anything for us this evening?
Hey everyone, I do have a few updates for you all today. So first, the council will hold its next legislative meeting on Tuesday, December 16th, so tomorrow. Residents can find the agenda and viewing information on the council's calendar online. One item on the agenda is a bill that Councilmember Fruman introduced, which is the Public Benefit Security Amendment Act. It would require that the Department of Human Services issue more secure microchipped benefits cards and reimburse residents when benefits are stolen through skimming or similar theft. The bill also includes a one-year extension of the DC Flex pilot program, which provides a flexible rent subsidy while the committee waits for a report on the program's effectiveness. Next, the committee will hold a hearing on Thursday, December 18th, on Councilmember Fruman's Library eBook Pricing Fairness Amendment Act of 2025. The background on this is that publishers often charge libraries far more for ebooks and audiobooks than for physical books, and they can also limit lending in ways that really drive up wait times. So this bill would help DC join a growing national effort to push for fairer pricing and terms, so more district residents can access digital library materials. And hearing information for that is available on the council's website. And lastly, our next newsletter goes out this Thursday, December 18th. It will have more legislative and committee updates, plus some resources for residents, including winter preparedness tips, support for unemployed workers, PEPCO bill assistance, and free family-friendly holiday events around the ward. Residents can sign up at mattfrumanward3.com. And that's all I have.
William Owen, did you have something else you needed to add?
Yes, sorry. I got distracted by my colleague, Andrew Shapiro. He is the new business liaison for wards 1 through 4. He's here, but I sent him the registration link, my registration link by mistake. So he's also listed as William Owen Cox, Ward 3 Mokers, but he's actually the Ward 1 through 4 business liaison. So he
Gotcha.
just started today, and welcome to him. If he wants to unmute and say anything, he can, but just sorry to have slipped on that.
It's nice to meet you all. I've been in the city for about 25 years and I've worked in a lot of different small business environments and been around the community for a while. So I'm really honored and happy to work in any way possible to support the work of the commission and the commissioners and to be a resource anywhere needed. So thank you all for having me. I'm going to go back on mute, but I appreciate the opportunity to introduce myself.
Super, thank you. All right, moving on. Any other agencies with us this evening? And have any announcements? All right, community organizations. Anyone?
If no one else is going, I'd like to go, but maybe Cassandra wanted to.
Go ahead.
Okay, let me make myself visible. Good evening, everyone. I'm Stella Tarnay. I'm a resident of Quebec Street here in Cleveland Park, and I'm also co-founder and executive director of Capital Nature. And I just wanted to let you all know that Capital Nature has been really engaged with the tree issue and the landscape quality issue here in Cleveland Park for the last year or so. As a resident, I've been facilitating the tree care and engagement with the urban forestry arborist on Quebec Street. And I'm really excited about the EJ meeting that Gawain and Jay are organizing. But I wanted to express our strong interest at Capital Nature to partner with Main Street, with the ANC, and with the library to create a more sustainable landscape in Cleveland Park. Capital Nature has a mission to engage urban residents with the natural world and also to support nature-based climate solutions. And I think with a lot of this climate change, we really have to get more tactical and strategic about how we're going to keep the trees alive in the neighborhood, especially on that commercial strip where they get an incredible amount of stress from the heat and the traffic and the lack of water. So we'd be very interested, Capital Nature is a nonprofit, to partner and do some problem solving and to engage the residents and businesses and the library. There is some interest to really create a more sustainable landscape and to help people enjoy it as well. So Gawain, watch out, because I think we'll be pulling together some kind of a grant application either in January or in February. Happy to answer questions if people have them.
Super, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other community organizations?
Jump in. Just wanted to thank everybody for coming out to the winter market on Saturday. It was a lot of fun and just not too cold. Cork is very close to opening and wanted to thank the ANC for being so helpful with all of their opening needs. This Saturday, there is a Santa bar crawl in Cleveland Park. You can get tickets from the Cleveland Park Main Street website. And on Tuesday, January 13th, our Tuesday talk speaker is Carl Strickwerda, is going to be talking about what's at stake defending today's global order. So thank you and happy holidays, everybody.
Super, thank you. Commissioner Prince, I don't know if there's anybody on from the new Woodley Park Main Street group.
There is not. I don't see anybody. I know they have yet to get their funding from DSLBD, so I don't know if they are up and running yet.
Okay. Well, hopefully we'll hear from them next month. All right. That concludes the announcement portion. We'll now move on to the community forum portion of the agenda, where members of the public are invited to ask questions and raise concerns about issues that are not otherwise on this agenda. Please limit time to about 2 minutes. So if anybody has anything for the community forum this month, please raise your virtual hand by clicking the reactions button there at the bottom, or you can come on screen and wave at us and we will acknowledge you. All right, hearing and seeing none, we will move right along to commission business, where we're going to start off with a discussion and vote on a resolution regarding a grant application of Hardy Middle School PTO for supplemental math curriculum. Commissioner Kripke.
Hi, yeah. So as we've said, I mean, everybody should know, the ANC has a budget allocated for grants, and we welcome applications from community groups for community-minded projects. This project comes to us from the Hardy Middle School Parent-Teacher Organization, um, looking to support a supplemental curriculum for math students, especially that's been found to be especially helpful for bringing slower learners into the mainstream of math learning. So I see that Janelle has put the application into the chat if you want to check it out. We had a grant committee meeting to hear about the project, ask some questions. Seems like a great project. A good chunk of our ANC feeds Hardy Middle School, so we can expect that resident families are going to benefit from this. And so we thought, I think it's a good idea. I'm offering a resolution to support the grant and approve the funding. It's in the order, I don't have it right in front of me, but it's about $2,000 or $2,500. So I'll stop there and see if there's any questions or if we should just move to a vote.
Well, can you, I can read the
Oh, yeah.
therefores, then make the motion to move the resolution and we can get a second because that has the amount in it and we need to say that. So this resolution, therefore, be it resolved that ANC3C approves and endorses the Hardy Middle School PTO grant request in the amount of $2,405.56 and authorizes the chair and the treasurer to execute the grant agreement and payment and all of the other coordination of compliance documentation consistent with DC law and OANC requirements. So can I get a second?
Second.
All right. Is there any discussion from commissioners? Any discussion from community members? All right. All those in support of funding this grant to Hardy Middle School PTO in the amount of $2,405.56, please raise your hand or say aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 to 0 to 0, so that passes. And it is a really cool project, and I'm very excited that they're taking that on and that we are helping support. All right. Moving right along. Our next item is the discussion of and vote on a protest resolution regarding ABCA application ABRA-134075 for a new medical cannabis retailer license to be located at 2653 Connecticut Avenue Northwest. The proposed facility, with approximately 1,500 square feet of space, will provide cannabis flowers, cannabis concentrates, and a line of edible products and home delivery services to registered patients in Washington, D.C. The application is requesting delivery, safe use, treatment facility, and summer garden endorsements. Commissioner Kripke, are you going to move the resolution?
Yes, I move the resolution.
Okay. Well,
Second.
Okay.
Did you not want me to do that?
We need to read what's in the resolution first.
Oh, sorry, I take it back.
But
Do you want me to read it? I think I have it up.
if you have it up, if not, I have it up and I can read it too.
It's more official coming from you.
Okay. All right. So basically, to summarize where we are in this, the deadline for the application or the protest notice is coming up shortly, and the ANC did meet or Planning, Zoning, Housing, and Economic Development Committee meeting to discuss this application and a number of the concerns that the neighbors brought up. And the applicant was there and answered a lot of the questions that were put out there. And we currently have this protest resolution set up to read that therefore it be resolved that ANC3C protest the application of the medical cannabis retailer at 2653 Connecticut Avenue Northwest on the grounds of appropriateness, pedestrian and youth safety, neighborhood character, overconcentration, and external emissions and air quality impacts consistent with APCA protest authority. Be it further resolved that ANC3C finds any outdoor or rare consumption space to be inappropriate at this location because no feasible filtration or screening methods can prevent emissions affecting adjacent residences, students, or children in the corridor, and therefore ANC3C requests that the ABC board deny the safe use treatment facility or summer garden endorsement at this address. And then it authorizes the commissioner for 3C01 and the chair to represent the commission in this protest, including mediation, hearing, settlement negotiations, compliant filings, and all APCA procedures. So let's move that and get a second. So I'm moving it. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Now we'll open it up for discussion first with the commissioners. I know the applicant is here as well. In the interim of when we noticed this meeting and posted this resolution attached to it, the applicant has come back to the ANC with a number of concessions that we'll have this discussion that are in response to the concerns heard from the community that would be a basis for a settlement agreement. Should that be the path forward? The concern of myself and a number of other commissioners is that APCA will deny the protests and then we'll be left with nothing in terms of a settlement agreement and in terms of, some of these concessions that can be offered. So we already seconded Commissioner Prinzo. You're up first.
To that effect, even though I myself am opposed to this cannabis location, I will be offering a friendly amendment that I can put in the chat that will state, be it further resolved that ANC3C expresses its intent to work collaboratively with the applicant to establish a settlement agreement that reflects the commission's recommendations, addresses community concerns raised during the review process, and supports a project outcome that is compatible with the Woodley Park Business District, if that is accepted.
Okay. I didn't author the resolution, so I'm having a hard time thinking I'm in the position of accepting the friendly.
So since I authored it, let me ask, and just to be honest about it, I don't fully understand the process, and also I don't fully, I'm not sure I know what the correct route forward is. I think just to start with a plenary comment, which is that I appreciate that the applicant has come today and to the earlier meeting and made a presentation and also demonstrates some significant sensitivity to some of the concerns that neighbors have raised about the facility. I don't think that those concerns have been fully resolved by the presentations, and I'm not sure they're fully resolved by the stipulations that the applicant is offering by email on Sunday. So I do think we still want to move forward with a resolution of some kind, and express the strongly felt concerns of neighbors about this facility and the approval of it. So that's my position on this amendment. I'm not sure I heard it correctly. The question is whether that's a contingent or does it mean that we are committing to negotiate a settlement agreement or that we're open to negotiating a settlement agreement?
My intent was open to.
Okay.
I think we're actively
Yeah. And nothing else within the resolution would change. So all the issues you're still bringing up in the whereases remain. It's just adding this one.
I just, not to cut you off, Chair Packets, but I do want to say that like I agree with you that we don't want to be left, should APCA deny our protest, we don't want to be left with nothing.
Right. Right. So, uh, and I think it's, my impression is that it's quite feasible for APCA to just deny our protest and move ahead with the applicant. So a settlement agreement might be a good option, or at least a better option than getting nothing in our negotiations. So so I think it is important to have that as an option and then to consider our strategy. But I'm not sure where we do that. It probably not in this meeting, but at some point after this meeting. But between now and when the application review or approval meeting happens, right? And that's later. That's next week, or I think it's next week.
I think the deadline to protest is next week, but the
Oh, I
hearing is
see.
January.
I see. You're right.
Yeah. So we need to pass the resolution to protest at this meeting.
Okay.
Hmm.
So
If we,
let me accept, if I can, I'd like to accept Commissioner Prinslow's amendment as a friendly amendment, which hopefully gives the ANC and the community more options in treating this issue.
okay. I'm going to add it as the last. Yeah, as the last one, if that's cool. Okay. Oh, and I can share this. All right, sorry. Commissioner Nash, you had your hand up.
Sure. Well, first of all, I support the resolution is now amended with a friendly amendment. And then I have a question. I mean, is it not the case then that if the commission is able with the applicant to conclude some kind of a resolution on terms that protect the community's interest, that the commission would need to approve that settlement agreement?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would have to do that at another meeting, and presumably if again the applicant is willing to enter into discussions in a way that protects the community's interest, um, with obviously the substantial input of Commissioner Kripke, then I think we could, together with the applicant, notify the board that, we are having promising discussions to resolve the matter and get a postponement of a final decision by the board pending conclusion of that. And assuming that we're able to reach these terms, then the commission would be in a position to consider and, either approve or reject it.
Yes, that is my understanding too of how this process would work moving forward, with the first step being like we want to lodge this formal protest and then go into a formal mediation and settlement agreement period.
Okay.
Commissioner.
Yeah, my question was largely along the same lines as Commissioner Nash's, just trying to get a better sense of how the, protest and the settlement agreement impacts the timeline for ABCA, but I think that kind of answers my question as well.
Okay. And we do have the applicant here. So Corey, if you want to come up and answer any of these questions about the process, that might be helpful because we're less experienced in it than you are. Um, but you don't have to.
I don't I don't mind being helpful.
Thank you.
Um, but I'm not sure how helpful I can actually be. I mean, the way that you laid things out just a few seconds ago is also my understanding that if we identify the fact that we are trying to negotiate some form of community agreement, that we will be given a certain amount of time to do so. And Obviously, they want to be sensitive to the same things that I think everyone on this call, including myself, want to be sensitive to. So that is my understanding.
Great. Thank you. All right. Any other commissioners, and then we can open it up to community.
Yeah,
All
for
right.
myself, as this resides in my SMD, I just want to thank everybody again for their input surrounding this topic. I want to thank Commissioner Kripke for drafting the resolution, and I want to thank Corey for his agreeableness throughout this process and for sending that letter suggesting that he's open to negotiating as a part of a community settlement agreement. That being said, as Corey and I have talked about, and as many constituents and I have talked about, as the or as the commissioner of this SMD where this cannabis shop is set to open, I feel I have to, in good faith, represent the interests of my constituents, which is to put forward this protest resolution. Uh, that being said, I will support the resolution as amended, so that we can get clarity from ABCA on some of the rules that may have made this a more challenging or gray license to begin with. So that being said, I look forward to the vote. Those are my final comments, and back to you, Chairperson Paggets.
Okay. All right. Any other commissioners? All right. Anyone in the community, you can raise your virtual hand or come on screen and wave at us. Okay, David Nichols, you appeared first.
Yeah, you're discussing some information from an email that was sent on Sunday from the applicant. I've asked for and have not seen any further responses. I'd like to see that. Particularly, I'd like to see an environmental impact statement about the fugitive emissions, about the contaminants that are going to be appearing in Woodley Park's air. I've seen nothing, and I've asked several times about it. What's the status of the environmental impact statement?
We don't have that, and I'm not entirely sure it's the thing that is done.
Well, I'm asking.
Okay, yeah, no, we don't have that. What and everything that we've been sent, obviously, it was sent to us yesterday, and we have daytime jobs too. So this would all be shared with the community in the process of negotiating the settlement agreement. Regarding your particular concern in what we were sent, there's the use of high volume air scrubbers, which would help mitigate some of those concerns regarding odors to neighbors and pedestrians. But yes, this isn't this is the start of the discussion. This isn't the end and something goes in tomorrow.
Sure.
Is that helpful?
For now.
Okay. Yeah, so more to come, but yeah, do feel free to reach out with questions like that because it's a good one. Any others in the community? Commissioner Kripke?
Yeah, I'm not sure this is what Mr. Nicholas was referring to, but in our meeting, I think it was the December 2 meeting, I think we were asked for more information from the applicant about the application. I think to share the application itself or business plan so that we could get a bit more information about what the plans were. And I don't think I've seen that. I'm not sure that's been shared with the ANC. And so I would like to reiterate that. I think at the time Mr. Barnett agreed to it, but I don't think we've seen it.
Can I respond to that, or is
Yes,
that appropriate?
you can. That would be helpful.
Yes, it's my understanding that a request was made for our application, and during the meeting on December the 2nd, we were asked if it was okay if it were released. And so I didn't know that you were looking for us to provide it, but more so the source that you were seeking to get it from. You were seeking our permission to get it to them. So if you need us to send it, I don't mind sending you our application.
Yes, it would be very helpful if you send it because I think the other avenue is we'd have to do a FOIA request to get it from ABCA because they won't just hand it to us.
Okay. I have a note to myself to send that over and um, look for that in the morning. Can I send it to you, Janelle? Because it's a pretty large file. And if somebody has capacity issues, it'll just bounce back to my email forever and ever and ever.
Okay, yeah. And if it bounces back to you, you can also just ping me and we'll come up with an alternative way of
Okay.
getting it across the transom.
Send app. And question for you, is it possible to try and um, put together some sort of negotiated document for submittal as part of next week? Is that your thinking, or what is your thinking around timing, or what have you, for that,
We
so to
aren't
speak?
going to be, it would have to be decided at this meeting what kind of document we were doing and the specifics within it.
Okay.
So for right now, the best we can do is this resolution that says we look forward or we're going to further discuss this path. Um, and then in like that good faith effort, like in January, the beginning of January, the first Monday that's not a holiday would be our next Planning, Zoning, Housing, and Economic Development Committee meeting, where it would be helpful to have like that draft to discuss at that meeting. Um, that way we're also showing like that this is being done in good faith. But I understand that with the holidays, it's like not ideal.
No, we'll make ourselves available to the degree necessary. So um, if you guys are ready, we're ready.
Okay, thank you. And again, thank you for putting into writing um, your starting points here, and we'll try and get this up on our website too, so folks can see it. I just copied it into a Google Doc quickly for my own reference for this meeting an hour ago. Okay. Any other community comments on this or feedback here? Raise your
Yeah,
virtual.
how do I get there? I don't know how I get there.
Okay, Janice, we can hear you, so you can go ahead.
Oh, okay, hi. I'm really so confused about what's going on. I sat in the meeting that you had in November. I had submitted comments which were not addressed at the time. And I submitted again an email today, but I'm not sure how you got to the point of a settlement because I thought that I don't know how that happened because in November there was no settlement agreement. So I don't know how the process worked and how we got here.
There is still no settlement agreement.
Okay.
That still absolutely remains the case, and I apologize because it is a confusing process. However, it's not my process. So
Okay.
yeah. Um, this is just saying like here's what our my concern and many on the ANC are concerned about is that APCA can just deny the protest altogether. And then we're
Okay.
like, no negotiation, no settlement agreement, nothing, essentially, right? So this is the
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to not end up in that position and
Okay.
have a path moving forward. But this by no means is like the settlement agreement is settled.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for clarifying that for me.
Okay.
But now, are we here because the landlord does not want to renew the lease for Petit Monde, or like is that business itself shutting down? So now there's space for this retail shop, or so.
We can only speak to the application that's been put before us for this cannabis license. We can't speak to what's going on behind the scenes with the landlord and retailer negotiations.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. I guess though it's very disconcerting to me and other residents of Woodley Park who I have spoken with, that we're getting another cannabis shop here. We have one already across the street from where this one now is applying. What is the necessity of having two? And aren't there any regulations that
limit the number that you could have in any one neighborhood. I mean, it would be 2 in one block, actually, on Connecticut Avenue. Can anyone address that?
That is brought up in the resolution questioning that the first be it resolved says that we're protesting on the grounds of appropriateness, pedestrian use, safety, neighborhood character, over concentration, and emissions and air quality impacts consistent with this protest authority. Now, that is up for the board to determine if that is a valid protest point or not.
Okay,
but we say what we can say. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I guess though, my concern is that we're a vibrant community. We have the restaurants, the cafes, the small businesses, a park, schools, and family-oriented and children-oriented organizations and activities. So an additional cannabis shop would neither enhance nor contribute to our neighborhood. It will do just the opposite. So that's why I'm just at a loss at the whole process, and that this would even be allowed. And I understand it has to go further, but what more as a community member can I do to protest this? Or is this just in your hands now to submit a protest resolution?
The community is free to write to the board as well. It's all on the notice, which I can find and post in the chat. But Commissioner Prinzo, I'm going to let you go while I look for that.
I'm sorry. I
Just a couple of things. My understanding is that there is a limit based on feet. I think we fall out of the feet. I think it's 400, and this is like a little bit north of that. But also, I do want to mention that like we are not the deciding body here, and I feel like that's what's getting a little bit disconcerted here. We, as an ANC, could take the stance that we don't want this in our neighborhood. I think a majority of this commission would agree. But we are not the deciders. That would be the ABCA, Alcohol, Beverage, and Cannabis Board. And they could literally just tell us to go kick rocks, despite the fact that we are the representatives of the neighborhood. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to work down both paths, because if this is going to come into our neighborhood, we would like it to come in a way that is somewhat agreeable with what the community's concerns are. You know, we don't want to just not leave. We don't want anything to be left on the table and then we just submit a protest and the ABCA board comes back and says, "Oh no, we don't really care what the ANC has to say. We're going to approve this." And then we're stuck with a cannabis dispensary that has no legally enforceable document on how to, be a good neighbor in a sense. I think that makes sense.
So basically, though, then you'll submit the protest resolution, and then if it's denied, this is the backup plan that you have, so that there's some negotiation there on how then this retail shop would then proceed and operate. Is that within the contents of the community? Is that correct? Okay.
But we need to negotiate the settlement agreement as the protest clock is winding down, because if we don't have that settlement agreement available and ABCA throws out the protest, then we have nothing. So we kind of just have to do both of these things.
Okay,
cool. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you. Anyone else in the community?
Yeah, I have one question, which is, would it make sense to ask the applicant to withdraw his application while the negotiation of the settlement is underway, because he also has an interest in not being entirely
He
denied.
can't, because if there's no applicant, there's nothing for us to settle legally.
Well, but the parties could agree to work toward a settlement. I mean, that happens all the time.
But I think
So,
that's what by us submitting this, it gives us more time to if we didn't submit this, I think it would have to be sorted out by the 22nd of December. And I think by us
well, but not if I hear you, but not if he withdraws it. If he withdraws it, and while the ANC and he work together and then resubmits under terms that are more palatable to the ANC in the neighborhood, then the application that the board is looking at is actually the application that the parties are happy with. Just a thought.
Yeah, I think the settlement agreement still, that process, we can't do the settlement agreement first. It has to be during this application process phase. Like it triggers different times of the notices. So there is the hearing date is the roll call hearing is January 12th, and then the protest hearing date is February 25th. So we have between now and then
See the hand disappear.
settlement agreement. And then that becomes attached to the legal, like what's legally enforceable with what ends up being approved by ABCA. It's not the easiest process in the world. And we don't go through it very often, frankly. I think this is like the first one in my 5 years on the commission, which is okay. Anybody else in the community have anything they want to weigh in on this? Again, this is not your last opportunity in this process to have
Yes.
Just a quick question. So to recap, the ANC will probably, but not necessarily, oppose this. If they do oppose it, is there a way for the community to directly put pressure on the board, on the tobacco board, or is it up to us to leave it to you to put that pressure on? In other words, is there anything else we can do other than what the ANC is going to do?
You can file petitions and or requests to appear before the board, and they must be filed electronically. So I put the full notice in the chat, so you have the email and these instructions.
Okay, thank you.
And then you can get more information directly from the board staff as well.
Roger.
Cool. All right. Anybody have anything else? Commissioners, any further discussion on this before we vote?
Can I just make one note quickly?
Okay.
I do want to just reiterate that this isn't a support of or an opposition of. I, like Samuel or Commissioner Littauer said, I have not gotten a single email in support of this application, but I think by adding the language that allows us to enter into a settlement agreement, again, it just gives us a backup plan that if we have to live with this, we can live with it in a way that's manageable for the community.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to, hearing and seeing no further discussion from commissioners or community, move this resolution to a vote. So all of those in favor of the protest resolution as amended, please raise your hand or say aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 to 0 to 0. So thank you, and we will move right along to the discussion and vote on the resolution regarding Historic Preservation Review Board application for 2723 Woodley Place Northwest for the construction of a new third-story addition. Commissioner Littauer.
Yeah, thank you, Chairperson Pagets. I am going to leave it to you to read the resolution. I will just add in preface that this is about a neighbor of ours whose family is seeking to build a third floor addition along the back alley of 2723 Woodley Place. The front facade is not being altered in any way, nor is the historic roof line. However, the back alleyway will climb by one extra story and be flush with the existing wall. It's important to note that this proposal and this project application was written in complete alignment with the existing zoning codes and codes for historic preservation as legally recognized by the Historic Preservation Review Board. There is a secondary set of codes written as an advisory list of guidelines by the Woodley Park Community Association that the Historic Preservation Review Board may consider. I am writing this resolution to ask the Commission, ANC3C, to recommend that the HPRB approves this project as it is proposed. One, because it is within the law, and it makes good faith effort to abide by the historic character of the neighborhood, and the existing law requires that historic character be assessed on the streetscape, not the back alley. And I'm asking for them to observe and recognize that precedent.
Okay, so we heard this application at our Residential Historic Preservation Committee meeting, which was notice meeting and held on December 9th, which the plan was presented, and we heard from the public on this and neighbors. So the resolution read that be it resolved that ANC3C has no objection to the concept proposal for 2723 Woodley Place Northwest, HPA number 26-58, including the proposed third-story addition and related alterations, encourages the HPRB to approve this project as proposed. Be resolved that the chair and the commissioner for SMD3C01 are authorized to represent the commission on this matter. I will move that. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Discussion first from commissioners, and then we'll go to the community members. Commissioner Prinzo.
Yeah. Thanks for authoring this, Commissioner Littauer. I am probably going to vote no on this. I have a lot of issues. My biggest issue is I don't like that this was added onto the agenda less than 24 hours before this meeting. I understand that we saw this and heard this from at a committee meeting. I did the same thing when we were presented with a resolution on pre-keep earlier in February. I am very much a stickler for the rules. Chair Pagets and I very much try to agendize our meetings a week before, and we very much try to do updates at least 3 to 4 days before the meeting. I don't think it's fair to put this on the agenda like with literally less than 24 hours notice. So for that reason, I am going to vote no.
May I respond? Commissioner Pagets, may I?
Yes, you can respond.
Great, thanks. Hey, Commissioner Prince, I appreciate your abiding by the rules, and I remember that instance and these comments from the P-Keep resolution as well. The only thing that I will add is that our meeting was this past Tuesday, which already is delayed beyond the window for us to be able to add that to the initial notice. During that meeting, I made clear, as you can revisit in the recording, that a resolution would be added ahead of time for this meeting. And working with Commissioner Paget, she made it clear that it would need to be one day before, or no later than one day before. I would also add that this project in itself has already been delayed. The Historic Preservation Review Board was supposed to take up this application in November. And so in trying to build out more time for community input, I requested a delay and it was granted for a full month for us to then have a Residential Historic Preservation Committee meeting and hearing where we heard from both opponents and proponents alike. And so while I appreciate, I appreciate the integrity on ensuring that this is done in a timely fashion, we also have taken more time than was expected and requested delays so that this could be submitted. So, thank you.
Yeah, I'll add to that we made it very clear at the Residential Historic committee meeting that this was going to be forthcoming and will be added to the agenda as part of the process, and that was reiterated several times during the meeting. Would I have preferred to have the resolution on Friday and renotice the meeting then? Absolutely. But I wasn't writing it. So a bit of it is also on the fact that the Residential Historic Committee doesn't seem to have a regular day of the month that they meet on every month. So that seems to be a sliding thing, and I hope that we resolve that moving forward to avoid situations like this, knowing that this is not the way that we should be running things. And a bit of it stems from that meeting is supposed to be the first Monday of every month, and it hasn't been, which would fit our timeline of how we ideally would go about things. So I apologize, but it
I hear you. Had it been noticed on Friday, I might have been different, but for me, that's my one sticking point that I have stuck to for the 2 terms that I've been on the ANC. I feel like you and I respectively have tried to foster an environment that this is very transparent, and I don't like things being added at the last minute.
fair. Commissioner Nash.
I was just going to flag that I will have a comment, but I'll reserve it until after we hear from the community.
Okay, any other commissioners before we move to community members? As I reminded commissioners earlier, this is a historic preservation review case. This is not a zoning case, and matters of air and light, this is not being asked for zoning relief. So it's not additional lots, it's not additional height, it's what can be built by right there. The only review is the historic preservation aspect of the project, since it sits in a historic district. Any commissioners have any questions about that? Any comments? All right, we'll go. Commissioner Bose.
I guess just to say thank you to Commissioner Littauer for the additional context on the delays that this project has experienced so far. I think I wasn't tracking that, so that's helpful to know. Thank you.
Okay, we will now go out to community members. If you want to raise your virtual hand, that would be super helpful. It's down there at the bottom in the reactions thing if you just hover over it. If not, I'm going to ask that you come on camera and raise your hand so that I can see you before just shouting, so that we could have a cue here. All right, Grace.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. This is really just to address what Commissioner Littauer said. He brought up the legal aspect, and I'm just curious, what is the legal limit to how far an extension can extend into the alley?
That's a great question. In regards to this case in particular, since the lot size of the construction project was not adjusted, it does not require zoning relief. The Historic Preservation Review Board then has to assess whether or not it violates the guidelines legally put in motion in the 1990 filing of the Woodley Park Historic District. That and then the legal great weight are the two precedents, and
so you don't know what the legal limit is. So if we made an application for a 30-foot extension into the alley, you would consider it?
Well, the thing is that would trigger a Board of Zoning Adjustments hearing. Commissioner Pagets, is that correct?
Yes, this is not asking for any relief of the lot occupancy, which is the lot occupancy zoning. We're doing all the really fun things tonight. The lot occupancy is the amount of lot occupied by the physical improvement of the structure within the larger property lot lines. So if they were to extend further back and take up, I forget what the zoning numbers are specifically to this zone, but if they took up 48% of the lot, but they're only allowed to take up 45% of the lot, then they have to go to the Board of Zoning, the BZA, the Board of Zoning Adjustment, to ask for that relief. but that's not being triggered here. They're building within what's permissible in the existing zoning code on that lot in that zone.
Yeah, so the reason I ask is because we're a neighbor and we have a similar lot. So if you don't know the answer, that's fine. But since Commissioner Littauer sort of looked into the legal aspects, I thought maybe he did some research into that as well. But my other question is, and my last question is, if I were to do another 10-foot extension, very similar to this property, and my neighbor just got solar panels put in, and when they evaluated his solar panel sunlight, he spent all this money to get his solar panels put in. I'm now going to block maybe 20% of his sunlight as a consequence. Is there any reaction? Is there any sort of legal liability in infringing on his commercial ability of his solar panels? Was this taken into account? I realize this is a historical issue that you're going to be putting forward, but it's just a question for Commissioner Littauer, since he must be a lawyer because he keeps talking about the legal aspects.
I appreciate the comment. And I will take it as a compliment. However, I am not a lawyer. However, the ANC, every commissioner across the district is granted great weight, which is a legal mandate as a part of the DC Home Rule Act and the establishment of the ANC. To answer the hypothetical in this equation here, I will just say that it is my contention that the ANC is not a judicial body. And so it is not up to a single person, whether it's myself or any of the commissioners across the district, to be in charge of interpreting the law. Rather, I see, the law as it was presented, and now I kick it back to the HPRB to say this is how we would advise on this issue. And so in the limitations of that position, my personal conviction is that people, when operating within the law, should be allowed to abide by the law, and they ought to be able to meet the needs of their household with their home. And so, should you ever be in a position where you look to add solar panels or add height to achieve better solar coverage, I will support your ability to operate within the law in the same way that I'm supporting this constituent to operate within the law.
Yeah, I was sorry. Last thing, I'm just
Can I
raising
answer
these.
the
Yeah,
question
go ahead.
about the solar panels though? Because that's more of a question for the Department of Buildings in like the permitting process of the thing.
No,
We
my
don't
question is really
permit.
for the commissioners. My question is really for the commissioners, whether they considered the fact that this extension will infringe on people's property rights with regard to their solar panels. If it was taken into consideration and a fair judgment was made, then that's fine. But if they didn't, then I don't know the law. Obviously, Commissioner Littauer does. I would think that that's a subset of the law as well. But if he's researched it and I will take his word for it, then that's fine.
I will answer with a quick yes. I absolutely considered the reality of sunlight and air, and also at the exact same time for this application, since it's not a BZA application, the historic character of the neighborhood isn't dependent or contingent on whether or not air or light are violated. And so those things were taken into consideration, yes, and also have to be balanced within the responsibilities of this application.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
You're an ass.
Okay. Any other comments or questions from the community?
I have a question, and it's a comment and maybe not a question, but Commissioner Littauer, you keep saying that the housing should be able to, or people should have the right to accommodate their homes with changing needs. But I just want to make sure that you understand his parents, in-laws, are not moving into their home. He wants to, they live in I believe they have a home in New York, and I believe they have a home in Florida. They just want to come over for 2 weeks at a time.
You're out of the realm of
Okay.
this
All right.
conversation.
But the point is, Mr. Littauer keeps saying that it's a growing family. It's not a growing family. It's a gym up there.
Comment. All right. Commissioner Littauer, we don't comment on justification of the interiors of people's homes. Okay. And I'd like to avoid that in the future. Judith.
Hi, I really didn't want to speak tonight. I do want to say that this has been really divisive, and we feel really that local democracy is failing in this situation. We don't feel that the communities are being represented here. There's very, very strong opposition from the whole community. But let me just speak to the historic piece of it because our architect isn't here. In the HPRB staff members report, it's noted that this is the longest nearly intact alley of any historic district in the entire city. We have a beautiful long alley with a complete harmony of roof lines in the back. And the HPRB, and I think by extension the ANC, are encouraged to take as advisories the very well thought out guidelines that the Woodley Park Community Association came up with some years ago. And in fact, one of the architects of those guidelines is on the call tonight. So I want to acknowledge her. So maybe, yes, in the letter of the law, these people are allowed to do what they are planning to do, but it would be very, very damaging, not only to the people on either side and immediately across the alley, but to the identity and character of the entire very long set of households, both on Woodley Place and on Cathedral Avenue. This is our shared lifeline. It's our community. And unfortunately, this project is harming the community as well as the beauty of the community. So, I mean, that's all I want to say. And I'm really tired that this even has to be part of my life.
Okay. Thank you for your comment. Anyone else in the community have comment? All right. Back to the commissioners.
If nobody else wishes to speak, I will. First of all,
Killing us, Rick.
I appreciate the number one, the presentation by the applicant's designer, Mr. Landis, architect, at the committee meeting the other evening, and statements in support, but then also statements of concern from the community, including one very visual presentation from Chris Snober, who is an architect and a property owner on that block. And I appreciate Commissioner Littauer's resolution and thoughtful consideration of these issues. But I'm going to vote against the resolution because while it's correct that as a matter of zoning, the proposed third floor addition and extension could be built. This is also an historic district, so it falls within the HPRB's purview to consider the application, design, and whether it is compatible. And it's also true that the commission normally gives the most scrutiny to alterations that are visible from the front street or from a public street. But of course, the property is fronted in the back by a public alley. But what makes this unusual is when community residents stated tonight, but it's also quite clear in the National Register nomination and in the staff report, is the remarkably intact rear facades in this block that seems unusual and, if not unprecedented, in other residential historic districts. I actually find the staff report quite compelling because it recommends approval of a third floor expansion that would raise the height of the structure to 35 feet. But what it does is recommend that the third floor addition stop at the line of the house, that is, not extend over the two-story sleeping porch. And in fact, it cites as an example an application that was approved about a year ago, a little more, on the HPRB's consent calendar, where similarly a third floor roof was raised, but the addition did not project over the sleeping porch. And I think the staff report has it about right that they are recommending approval of an expansion, a raised height on the third floor, but stopping it at the sleeping porch such that it preserves the rhythm and facades in the back, which the staff believes in the registry, National Register nomination suggests are a defining and valuable historic feature. And I expect that the staff, excuse me, the HPRB will give great consideration to the staff report and to other presentations that are made at the hearing. And so with respect, I'm going to vote against the resolution.
All right. Any other commissioners before we move to a vote on this? All right, the vote is on the resolution supporting having no objection to the concept proposal for 2723 Woodley Place Northwest, HPA application 2659. All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All those opposed? 1, 2. So that passes 5-2 to 0. All right, thank you all. And moving on to our final item, Treasurer's report. Commissioner Kripke.
Treasurer's report is pretty quick. We've got an interest payment of 90 cents. Basically, nothing happened. We didn't make any expenses, and we didn't receive any income except interest. So there's really nothing to report. I sent a memo, and with Commissioner Littauer's agreement, we can just amend it or append it to the notes if that's okay. I do, just to make a note here, I do think I may propose a modest budget amendment next meeting per some OANC guidance to budget for incidental expenses that commissioners have around ANC business, things like Metro cards and things like that needed for your work, which we may or may not need, but they ask us to include in the budgets. So I'll probably have a small budget amendment next month. That's all.
Okay, great. And I saw we got some nasty grams from OANC on some paperwork that we owe them.
Yeah, I'll take care of it.
Oh, yeah, we'll work on that. I did send a few of the minutes over. It's just like
Yes, appreciate that.
popping in and popping out of different months now.
Not everything they're asking for is reasonable. They're, for example, they're asking for grant reports on grants we just gave. So it's not totally coherent what they're asking for.
Yeah.
But there's some petty form that I will find and fill out for the checks we've made, and I'll just deal with it.
That form is not, to answer your question from a couple of days ago, Chair Packets is not in the regs.
Yeah, it's a vibe. Wish. Yeah. So hopefully our things can be fixed so that they don't withhold our money again. But this seems like a regular quarterly thing where they have the things and just make us resend them. So I'm sorry, Commissioner Kripke, that this keeps happening. And now they have like a formed PDF, like very angry document that they send us.
I know. It's very official. I mean, I guess they're spending their time. Do they do this for every ANC, or are they just picking on us? I don't know.
I believe I told Commissioner Packets that they needed to get a job.
They need something else to do. It's crazy.
Really? Yeah, instead of putting the what's wrong with us in the body of the email, they attach it.
Yeah.
So anyways, all right. So do we have to vote on any more QFRs or no?
I think we'll do our QFR next month.
Okay. Anybody have anything else for this evening? Hint, hint.
And I motion to adjourn this meeting for the final time this year.
All right. Yes, you can second.
Happy holidays and Happy New Year, everybody.
All right. Thank you all. Have a good one.
Thank you.